and welcome everyone to the Drishti IAS English YouTube channel. I am Pragya with you today. As you all are aware, we are running the Target UPSC Prelims 2024 Current Affairs series so as to make you revise your current affairs and so as to make you remember the important happenings of the previous year. So in today's episode of Polity, we will be discussing the major constitutional amendments which were in the news last year. So in this discussion, we will be covering the 24th constitutional amendment, then the 42nd constitutional amendment, the 69th constitutional amendment, 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment, the 97th constitutional amendment, and lastly, the 106th constitutional amendment. So let us begin our discussion today by the 24th constitutional amendment. It is a very important amendment in our Indian constitution. So why was it in the news? When we were discussing the Keshwanand Bharti case, we discussed that yes, this landmark judgment delivered by our Honorable Supreme Court of India has recently completed 50 years, and in this landmark judgment, the doctrine of basic structure was evolved by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and in this judgment itself, the Honorable Supreme Court of India reviewed the validity of 24th, 25th, 26th and 29th constitutional amendments. So whenever I discuss this, I explain you a brief background that yes, there were some ongoing tussles between the Honorable Supreme Court of India and Government of India at that point of time. Any kind of constitutional amendment to enforce the directive principles of state policy, to enforce socialism, was struck down by the Honorable Supreme Court of India because some way or the other it violated right to property, which was a fundamental right at that point of time. Even before the 24th constitutional amendment, we had the Golaknath case, in which the Supreme Court of India held that Article 368 is a law for the purposes of Article 13 of the Indian Constitution, and by the virtue of Article 13 Clause 2, you cannot enact a law that abridges or violates the fundamental rights of the citizen. And to have counter effect, to resolve the effect of this judgment and to save as this counter effect, the 24th constitutional amendment was brought by our Indian Parliament. Now let us examine the key features of this amendment. So basically it amends Article 13 of the Indian Constitution to make it inapplicable to any amendment of the Constitution under Article 368. Article 13 Clause 4 and Article 368 Clause 3 were inserted through this amendment, and Article 13 Clause 4 says that nothing in this article shall apply to any amendment of this constitution made under Article 368. And why was it done? As I explained, to override the judgment delivered by the Honorable Supreme Court in the Golaknath case. Moving forward, it also amended Article 368 to state that Parliament has the power to amend any part of the Indian Constitution. That means the Parliament was empowered to amend even the fundamental rights. It made it obligatory for the President to give assent to a constitutional amendment bill. Now let us discuss the 42nd constitutional amendment. And as we all know, the 24th constitutional amendment was declared to be valid in the case of Keshwanand Bharti case. But in that case, the Honorable Supreme Court of India categorically held that you can amend the constitution, but you cannot alter the basic structure of our Indian constitution. So then came the 42nd constitutional amendment. Why was it in the news? Because the Supreme Court bench is currently hearing a petition seeking to delete the words socialist and secular from the preamble of the constitution. So many a times this question has been asked in your competitive examination by, can you amend the preamble to the constitution? They have asked the case laws in which it was declared that preamble is a part of the constitution or in which it was declared that preamble is not a part of the constitution. Then they also ask you how many times has the Indian preamble been amended. So it was amended just once, and it was through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. And the insertion of the words socialism, secularism has been challenged in before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and the matter is currently sub judice before the apex court. The Supreme Court ruled that tribunals cannot direct the government to frame policy, and this also involved the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, because for the very first time we are talking about tribunals in the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. Now let us examine the key features of this amendment. The changes were so huge by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment that we refer it as the mini constitution of India. So this amendment is also famously known as the mini constitution because it made so many changes in the original constitution. The preamble was amended to include 3 new terms, that is socialist, secular and integrity. Fundamental duties in part 4A were added as a new part. Then the president was required to follow the advice of the cabinet. Constitutional amendments were made immune to judicial review for obvious reasons, because once you give the power to the Supreme Court to judicially review anything, definitely there are chances that the Supreme Court will rule it against you. So the government at that point of time did not want to take any kind of chances, because there was a long history of tussle between the Supreme Court of India and the Government of India at that point of time. Then laws implementing directive principles of state policy were safeguarded from being declared void due to the certain fundamental rights violations. So basically it gave a precedence over DPSP to fundamental rights. As per Article 37 of our Indian Constitution, the DPSPs are non-justiciable in nature. So this amendment made sure that if something is happening and that thing is happening to enforce a particular directive principle of state policy, then the judiciary could not declare it void on the ground that it violated certain fundamental rights. Especially this was done to avoid any kind of conflict with the right to property, which was a fundamental right at that point of time. Moving forward, 3 new directive principles were added, and these 3 new directive principles include the insertion of Article 39 Clause A, Article 48 Clause A and Article 43 Clause A. Changes were also made to Article 39 Clause F, and Article 39 Clause A specifically is very important because it talks about the right to receive free legal aid. Then the tenure of the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies was extended from 5 to 6 years. Provision was made for the establishment of All India Judicial Services. So this can also be asked in your examination, that because All India Judicial Services has remained in the news previously, especially during the last year. So this can also be asked in your examination, that through which amendment specifically talked about the creation of All India Judicial Services. Then administrative tribunals and tribunals for other matters were established under Part 14 Clause A of our Indian Constitution. Moving forward. So it inserted Article 323 Clause A and 323 Clause B in the Constitution of India. Article 323 Clause A empowered the Parliament to constitute administrative tribunals both at the centre and state levels. And we know the very famous administrative tribunals in India include the Central Administrative Tribunal, Income Tax Tribunal, National Green Tribunal. So all of these tribunals have been created by the virtue of Article 323 Clause A and Article 323 Clause B of the Constitution. And Article 323 Clause B specified certain subjects such as taxation and land reforms for which Parliament or state legislature may constitute tribunals by enacting a law. Moving forward, let us discuss the 69th constitutional amendment, which has been in the news time and again due to the conflict between the LG versus Delhi government regarding the control of services in the Union Territory. So, as I said, the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2023 was passed by the Parliament. Article 239 Clause AA was inserted in the Constitution by the 69th Constitutional Amendment Act 1991 that gave the special status to Delhi. To resolve the conflict of control of services, the Parliament has enacted this new act, namely the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Act of 2023. Let us examine the key features of the 69th Constitutional Amendment. So, basically, it gave the special status to the National Capital Territory of Delhi. So, it changed the name of Delhi to National Capital Territory of Delhi. It also introduced Article 239 Clause AA and Article 239 Clause AB into the Indian Constitution. The amendment aimed to address Delhi's unique needs and ensure effective administration. We are covering these amendments very briefly because we have already covered these amendments in our Polity Primer series in depth, and that is why I am covering it in very brief discussion. So, basically, if you talk about the 69th Constitutional Amendment, it took care of Delhi's need. It made Delhi the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Delhi is the Union Territory that also has its own legislative assembly, and that has been made possible by the 69th Constitutional Amendment. The LG was designated as the administrator of the NCT, and he is appointed by the President of India. The LG ensures faithful execution of laws and constitutional provisions in the Union Territory of Delhi. A council of ministers led by the chief minister was provided for advising the LG on NCT administration except in matters under the union government's jurisdiction. Special provisions were made recognizing Delhi's status as the national capital, granting the president authority to legislate on public order, police and land matters. Okay, and this has been provided under Article 239 Clause AA, Subclause 3, Subclause B. Okay. Now, let us discuss the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment, which for the very first time established the local self-governments in India. It establishes the panchayats and the municipalities in India. So, why was it in the news? The year 2023 marks the 38th anniversary of the 73rd and the 74th Amendment to the Indian Constitution. As I said, it created the urban local bodies as well as the Panchayati Raj institutions. Recently, the Reserve Bank of India released its report titled The Finances of Panchayati Raj Institutions, and that is why these amendments were in the news. Now, let us examine the key changes. So, added Part 9 and Part 9A, Panchayats and Municipalities to the Indian Constitution. Introduced the concept of Gram Sabhas and Ward Committees as basic units of democratic system. So, before this, we just had the central government and the state government. But it was our dream to bring democracy on the grassroots levels, and that is why we wanted to have a third tier of government. And this was finally introduced in our Indian Constitution through the 73rd and the 74th constitutional amendments. Establish a 3-tier system of panchayats at village, intermediate and district levels except in states with a population below 20 lakhs. Seats at all levels are to be filled by direct elections. Seats and chairperson positions are reserved for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in proportion to their population. 1/3 of seats reserved for SCs and STs are also reserved for women. This is the first constitutional amendment in our Indian constitution that specifically granted reservation to women. Okay. Additionally, 1/3 of chairperson positions at all levels are reserved for women. Uniform 5-year term for panchayats and municipalities. Elections must be held within 6 months in case of dissolution. It also created the State Election Commission. It also instituted the 11th schedule in our Indian constitution. Panchayats are responsible for preparing plans for economic development and social justice concerning subjects devolved by law. This includes subjects listed in the 11th schedule. The 74th amendment provides for a district planning committee to consolidate plans from panchayats and municipalities. Moving forward, financial provision, it also talks about the State Finance Commission. So basically, the State Finance Commission foresees that each state establishes a finance commission to determine financial resources for panchayats and municipalities. So basically, this State Finance Commission foresees the distribution of revenue within the state governments and the local governments. Moving forward, let us discuss the 97th constitutional amendment, which talks about the cooperative societies. So why was it in the news? The President of India granted assent to the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill 2022 to amend the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act of 2022, and now this has become an act. We have discussed the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Amendment Act in detail in our previous sessions. 97th Constitutional Amendment gave a constitutional status and protection to the cooperative societies, and the most unique part about this is the Supreme Court has held that these provisions only apply to the cooperative societies that are in 2 different states, okay, multi-state or cooperative societies in the Union Territory. Now the central government has no control over the cooperative societies existing within the state. So what were the key features? The 97th Amendment Act 2011 established the right to form cooperative societies as a fundamental right under Article 19. It added a new directive principle of state policy on promoting cooperative societies, and that is Article 43 Clause B. The amendment introduced a new part 9B, titled The Cooperative Societies, from Articles 243 Clause ZH to Article 243 Clause ZT. The Act authorizes Parliament to establish laws for multi-state cooperative societies and state legislature for other cooperative society. And this is what I explained, that as per the recent Supreme Court judgment, the Parliament has absolutely no control over the cooperative society that are existing in one single state. Yes, if they are existing in multiple states, then yes, Parliament is the right authority. Now let us discuss the last Constitutional Amendment Act of our today's discussion, and that is the 106th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2023, also known as the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. And as you all know, that for the very first time, this gave reservation to women. in politics. So why was it in the news? Let us discuss. As I said, it gave 33% reservation to women in the Lok Sabha, state assemblies and the Assembly of NCT of Delhi. And this marks the official entry of women in politics. As I said, the 73rd and the 74th constitutional amendment gave reservation to women at the local bodies. But if you talk about the central government, the state government, so this amendment is giving 33% reservation to women so as to represent them equally in politics. It reserves 1/3 of all seats for women in Lok Sabha, state legislative assemblies and the Legislative Assembly of Delhi, including seats reserved for the SC and ST community. So most of you are confused that are these seats reserved for women belonging to the general category? Yes, and that is why it is known as quota within quota. So out of this 33%, 1/3 seats are reserved for SC and ST women. So it applies to all women irrespective of their caste. So yes, the women of general category are also entitled for reservation. The reservation becomes effective after the publication of the first census conducted after the Act's commencement, and this is a focal point of criticism against this amendment, that you are not conducting the census, so how will you actually implement this women's reservation, and time can only tell that. Moving forward, the reservation lasts for a 15-year period and can be extended based upon parliamentary decision. Seats reserved for women will rotate based on parliamentary legislation after each delimitation process. So these were the key features of the 106th Constitutional Amendment Act. With this, we come to a conclusion of our today's discussion. We have seen the major constitutional amendments which were in the news last year, and we have revised them very quickly. I hope this session was insightful for you. If you have any feedback regarding this session, you can drop it in the comment box below. If you liked today's discussion and found it to be helpful, kindly like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting updates. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.